Welcome to another episode of Off Court. We are here with Guerilla Sports, but this episode, this post-game live reaction, is presented by Trusted American. Trusted American salary-based mortgage consultants want to help you get into a better interest rate and lower your monthly payments. Just go to trustedamerican.com to see how much money they can save you today. BK, let's get into this conversation here about a pretty how would you classify this one? Rough game by the Denver Nuggets, not so much by Nikola Jokic, who dropped 56 points in this loss. And I do want to start with, of course, I think most people on here are ready to hear what I have to say, because they know I can be a little dramatic. I can be a little, emotional as it pertains to this Denver Nuggets team. And that I think is pretty reasonable and realistic in a spot like this, when this Nuggets team, as good as they are on paper, they're losing to the Wizards, the worst team arguably in the NBA, but it wasn't the 56-point performance by Jokic that caught my eye. And it wasn't even the fact that we lost to the Wizards. It was the fact that, based on how this season has gone and a lot of the frustrations that have been geared directly towards Jamal Murray, and I know I sound like a broken record when I talk about Jamal Murray. I get it. I am just as sick of talking about him as you're probably sick of hearing me talk about him. However, something I noticed, and we can make speculation and we can talk through it. And of course, not every injured player travels with the team, but we had two very important players missing from our starting lineup tonight in Aaron Gordon and in Jamal Murray. One of those players traveled with the team and the other did not. And I'm sure, BK, without knowing anything outside of that, you can probably guess which injured member was with the team and which was not. And again, this is a situation where we're seeing these video clips surfacing the internet of Aaron Gordon trying to have an on-court meeting with the team against the best team in the NBA and the Cavaliers, trying to rally the troops, trying to get everybody on the same page. And Jamal Murray is standing by himself on the court while Aaron Gordon is visibly trying to call him over to have a meeting. Jamal stood where he stood, did not move a muscle, and then just the next game is injured with a hamstring injury that I don't think anyone really knew about, and also not traveling with the team. I think it speaks volumes of what's going on here with this Denver Nuggets team. Again, don't want to make some huge assumption here, but to me, it's a very telling situation what's happening here.
Until we hear otherwise, you have to take the hamstring injury on its face, and if he wants to get back to get treatment, because I don't know how close he is compared to could Aaron Gordon maybe play tomorrow. And so I saw where Bennett Durando in the Denver Post had talked to AG, and AG probably should have been shut down sooner with the calf strain because his whole leg was bothering him. But he's now back, and then you don't know if this is related to that. We know that calf injuries, soft tissue injuries can linger, and so that's its own thing to monitor. But what did it say? Refresh my memory on why he was out tonight. Was it back? Did it say back? What did it say for Aaron Gordon tonight?
For Aaron Gordon, I'm not sure, but I know for Jamal it was hamstring.
It was hamstring.
Which I don't want to sound like I don't have any sympathy towards injuries, because if he's injured, he's injured. But again, given the nature of all things Jamal right now.
It's his calf again. And so that's kind of the thing. So on AG too. So that's going to be a problem until it's not. He's not the youngest player, and obviously he relies on his athleticism for what he does. So you wonder, are they just erring on the side of caution because it tightened up on him, or did it flare back up and is this going to be a problem? But you waste a 56-point career high night from Joker. We're seeing plenty of comments about that in the chat. You got, I think, solid effort from the team, but not solid execution. They were 6 of 24 against the Cavs from three. Well, let's take that down a notch to 5 of 24 tonight. And that's just not going to get it done. Not when you look on the other side, and the Wizards end up going for 16 of 41. So they obviously hoisted up 15 more threes, but they made 11 more of those 15 that they took. So you end up, I mean, that's not the, 16 of 41 is 39%. It's right around where you want to be. And then on the glass, the Nuggets out rebound them by 11. You saw Joker had a bunch of them just himself, like fighting for putbacks. But it's frustrating to lose a game to a team that had lost 16 straight and it only won once at home and only has 3 wins on the year. This is one of those games, Liv, that we talk about. They now have to go steal a win at the Celtics.
Like, what the hell? This is the Wizards, BK. Like, what the hell? Is it time to blow this team up? That's what this comment's saying. I mean, are we getting to that point where it's like, are we wasting Nikola Jokic in his prime right now? 56-point performance, and it was against the Wizards. If Nikola Jokic by himself scores 56 against the Wizards, that should be enough to keep them in this game.
Well, and they weren't in the game. They cut it to 3. They cut it to 6 late. Then they were hovering right around that 6-8 mark and just couldn't get over that hump. I guess they cut it to 5. Then they come down and Joker misses that 3, and MPJ isn't able to kind of tip it back in. They grab the rebound. And so it's going to go down as one of the more frustrating losses because of how great Joker was. He finishes with 9 assists, but if they knock down any of those open threes, I think he could have had anywhere from 5 to 9 more assists on a lot of those kickouts, right? And so I think that you have to kind of temper the frustration only because with this game specifically, only because you have to figure out what is your team about. And you saw more Jalen Pickett minutes tonight. I assume that means Trey Alexander's down in the G League because of the 2-way contract. And so you're going to continue to see Michael Malone just try to keep the boat afloat, if you will. But this is a bad loss because of how bad that team is. So you're going to have to trade it for another good win somewhere along the way, or you're going to be firmly a play-in team battling in those play-in games 7 to 10 if you can't figure out a way to get this corrected. And there aren't a lot of trades to be made because of where things sit with the salary cap.
Yeah, and you mentioned salary cap, and I do think, I do spend a lot of time explaining frustration about Jamal Murray or MPJ or lack of defense, and all of those things we'll get to in just a moment because they were issues. The defense especially was a problem on the perimeter, which we know is a habitual issue with this team. More than that, we can't have conversations about this Nuggets team and where they're at, and not just where they're at this season, but where they're going to be for a few seasons because of the decisions that our front office made. Now, hindsight is 2020, right? When you are investing in a guy like Jamal Murray, it is your expectation that not only does he maintain his skill set, but he surpasses his skill set, right? Like, you do take a risk when you pay these players that type of money because it is an investment, right? And we know investments can work out really well in your favor, or they could really bite you in the ass. And right now we're seeing that with this Denver Nuggets team. You invested in a guy, you paid him an exceptional amount of money, not for what he was currently giving you when you paid him, but for what you know he could be because you've seen it before. The problem is, there was a chance the moment they paid him that max contract money that we wouldn't see that version of him again. They paid for a version of Jamal that they know he can be, not the version that he was when he got paid. Actually, when he got his max contract, that was probably the most we've seen Jamal Murray struggle being a Denver Nugget ever. So when you get that money and you invest in a guy like Jamal Murray, it is your hope, it is your prayer and your wish that he maintains the skill set that got him that max contract. We talked a little bit on the show just the other day about the fact that some of the max contract stuff is a reward. The 2023 championship run could not have been done without a Jamal Murray. But we've seen this story before. You pay these players max contract money and there's a fall off. Now, I'm not just saying that because I'm going to hound on Jamal again. Jamal didn't play tonight. Lucky for him, he wasn't there. Not only did he not play, he wasn't there with his team. So we can't really blame Jamal in this moment for this loss. There was a lot of other things that went wrong. However, we do have to spend a second talking about the position that Calvin Booth has put this Nuggets team in. Again, hindsight is 2020, right? It's easy to sit here and say, based on what we're seeing from Jamal or what we're not seeing from Jamal, that there's a struggle here and it's a problem. There was no guarantee that this was going to be the result when he got paid. So I get that Calvin Booth, any GM, front office, owner could make this same mistake, but we are in a very crappy situation, in my opinion, for seasons to come because of the way in which that we paid Jamal Murray in the offseason.
Yeah, and there just aren't moves that you can make because you're going to need people to want to take on either his contract or MPJ's contract, even if you want to go into that second apron that we know Stan Kroenke certainly can't afford to, and Josh Kroenke certainly can afford to if they want to go that route. The Nuggets, I think, because we looked at it the other day, are 8th or 9th in payroll right now. And so It's not like they're not spending money. We understand that, but they are limited. They also don't have as many draft picks. I saw where somebody said they could dump Zeke Najee's salary, but in order to do that, they would also have to send draft picks with that, including perhaps a first and several second rounders to make all the money work. And we know that it's getting convoluted. And I've heard Josh Kroenke complain about the way that it's set up. I think he did at the BMW Golf Championship when he was kind of giving a more wide ranging interview talking about both the Avs and the Nuggets following his Pro-Am round. But you are where you are. And so you have to fight with the warriors you have, if you will. And now it is going to blow my mind. And I saw this in the chat. If Jamal shows up in Vegas at the UFC fight tonight, then that's a different conversation. I don't think he's crazy enough to do that. But
I genuinely pray to every god that is above me that Jamal Murray is not in a flipping UFC fight tonight. I will go ballistic. I will become irate, because it's one thing to do it one time and say, I'm a grown man, I can do what I need to do. It's a long season. Then you snitched on your teammates the next post-game presser at home when you got handed to by the Knicks. So help me God, I pray that he is not at the UFC fight tonight, because if he is, BK, you guys think you've heard a lot from me about Jamal Murray now. Just you wait if he is at that UFC fight. I swear on everything, I will lose my mind. If he's smart, he's got a mustache and a wig if he's there.
I don't think he will be. But what you also have to look at, for as good as Joker was tonight, there's no world where Jordan Poole should have 39 points and make 9 threes. He was 9 of 20. You know, we were joking about Donovan Mitchell and he being the only player that could have 9+ threes as a prop. I can guarantee you Jordan Poole is not available on FanDuel or any other sports book that you were going to be able to bet on Jordan Poole making 9 threes, but he makes 9 of 20. So he's nearly 50%. You can't let Jordan Poole go for 39, especially when you're better defensively by Jamal not playing. That means that you're going to play. I guess Ray Alexander was there tonight. He just didn't play as a coach's decision. But you're going to play Jalen Pickett. You're going to play Russell Westbrook. You're going to play Strother on him. You're certainly going to play CB on him. There's no reason Jordan Poole should have 39 points ever, but certainly against the Nuggets team, who you can argue still isn't connected defensively, even if Jamal isn't out there. There is a drop-off with AG not out there, because you know how versatile he is and how active he is as a defender. So you're forced to start Peyton Watson again. You start Russell Westbrook. And Russell's fine. He was 3 of 6 from the field. He got you 12 assists to go with 10 rebounds. He was obviously the same level of energy. He only took 2 threes. He missed both of those. But when you only make 5 threes on the night, you're not going to win a lot of basketball games in the modern NBA. And so if they make 2 more, we'll see.
I knew they weren't winning this game when I checked the score at halftime. Not even the score at halftime. I think they were only down by maybe 10 at halftime, which is very familiar territory for this Nuggets team. Sure. Now, don't get me wrong. Against the flipping Wizards, it's actually unacceptable. But it is very normal for this Nuggets team to go into halftime in a deficit. But when I'm looking at this halftime score, and then I do a deep dive and realize that the Nuggets are shooting 12.5% from 3 and allowing the Wizards to shoot 45.5% from 3. I mean, is defense just not on our radars? Do we not care? Is it again, we talk all the time about defense. Defense is effort and communication. That's what it is. And we don't have that right now. And you know what? I don't like to make assumptions, because this is a business of factual information. When you are a reporter or you're talking about a team, I get all that. But I think it is a very naive way of thinking if there is not any type of consideration to the fact that there may be a very broken culture here with this Nuggets team. Why? Tell me why. I understand KCP was a loss for this Nuggets. I understand Bruce Brown was also a loss for this Nuggets.
And Jeff Green.
But this Nuggets team did make the playoffs last year and did still dominate the Lakers in the series. Like, we still saw good basketball out of this Nuggets team last year. And the only difference is KCP. Now, while that is a big deal, we did see CB early in this season step up to the plate, play that 3-and-D. He worked on his three-point shooting in the offseason. He was ready to go. The ceiling is very high for him. So why on earth, outside of culture, that I'm making an assumption about, but why on earth would this Nuggets team fall off that bad from last year to this year unless there was not a culture issue or a problem with chemistry in the locker room? To me, that is the only explanation here.
Yeah, I saw where somebody said in the chat, and obviously we appreciate all our great viewers and listeners, but obviously viewers right now that are chiming in, that said that somebody said Jamal is in, his here from Mizariha X, and I might have got that name wrong, but negative energy from Jamal's contaminated the whole team. And I don't know if that's necessarily true, because I understand negative energy can impact you in general, but you also contrast it with what you get from the rest of the team. And it feels like Jamal's an outlier, if that makes sense. So Jamal's not being the best contributor, on the court, off the court, whatever it may be, but he's not even there tonight. He's not even in the building. So he can't, I don't think that, even though he is your second highest paid player, that he can, like him not being there isn't why they went 5 of 24 from 3, if that makes sense. He's not the reason tonight why they aren't playing good defense.
No, but don't you think there's an aspect of this game that is so mental? And if they've already hit a wall of frustration, whether it be because of the culture in the locker room or again, maybe there's just the simple fact of, why is Jamal not dressed in street clothes sitting on the bench next to Aaron Gordon right now? There might just be that obvious frustration of, I think mentally this Nuggets team isn't able to do, physically they're not able to do what they need to do. The skill is still there. You cannot tell me this entire Nuggets team fell off this bad from last year to this year just because they lost a few players. Like, there's no way. To me, the only thing that's different is the mentality of this team. And I do think when you have a player like Jamal Murray that is either not showing up, or when he does show up, he has a bad attitude, or when he's injured, he's not traveling with the team. And I don't know the reason why he's not with the team, so I'm not making assumptions there. But I'm just saying, when you start playing the addition game and you're adding up all of these different things, when it comes to Jamal Murray, it becomes cancerous behavior. I think it sucks the life out of the room, out of the locker room, out of the team. I believe that. I believe that a player like Jamal Murray, we see it. When Jamal Murray scored 25 plus points in the 2022-2023 season, their record was 16-2. There are some players that just have that magnetic energy about them, either in a good way or a bad way. And when Jamal Murray's on, the whole entire team feeds off of that. But when he's not on, and when he's got a piss poor attitude, and when he's not showing up, and when he's at UFC fights, and when he's not present and locked in, I think that people feed off of that. It's cancerous. It's toxic. So to be honest, I kind of agree with the whole contamination thing. I really do. And tonight, yes, you're right. Jamal couldn't have controlled whether or not defense was being played in this one. He couldn't have controlled that at halftime, we were shooting 12.5% from 3. They were shooting 45.5% from 3. That is out of Jamal's control because he wasn't playing tonight. But what is in Jamal's control is the fact that he is supposed to be a leader on this team. I think that's just kind of an automatic assumption that can be made, that when you make max contract money, you got to step up and be a leader. Whether you are playing or not, even injured, you should still be involved in this game, motivating your guys. And when Aaron Gordon's on the floor trying to rally the troops to potentially take down the Cleveland Cavaliers, and Jamal standing there off on his own with no intention of joining his team to find a way to get a win, that's toxic. And toxic, unfortunately, can be a lot more powerful than a good attitude. And I think we're seeing his bad attitude finally catching up and potentially hurt this team. Now, as for tonight, this is just a great example of defense, that defense is not being played. But again, I just think all of this is connected. Even though Jamal wasn't playing, I think his behavior and his attitude and the selfish game that he's playing right now, I just think it's all connected. I think it's affecting how they play, and we're seeing that. They just lost to the effing Wizards. Like, what the hell?
And gave up 39 to Jordan Poole, which is obviously as big a head scratcher as there is. And so you have two things on the horizon: a trip to Atlanta and a better team with Trae Young. They just went to OT and beat LeBron and the Lakers last night, so they got a night off while the Nuggets are battling to a loss against the worst team in basketball. So they're going to ask Joker to dig deep again tomorrow. But on the other side of it, and we know how much they didn't like all the time off they had after the 5-game win streak because they felt like they lost some of their continuity. Well, now they need the break, I think. And so they'll go from playing Sunday in Atlanta to not playing again until Friday in Denver against the against Clippers, sorry. And so you're going to get a couple of days off. That'll allow AG to heal up if we think that it's close enough that he can get back on the court. And then you also still have some more time because in the next game until a couple of days later on the 16th, and that game's in Sacramento. Those are the two kind of, fill-in games after the Cup next round that schedule was set. And so there's an opportunity to really do some soul searching, and they'll tip off in Atlanta at 6:00 Atlanta time, 4:00 here in Denver. So they'll be home in time to go to bed at a normal time. Because one thing that I had heard is that
they don't deserve rest.
Well, they've done so much with exercise science and sleep science that they're spending nights in cities so that their body kind of stays on the same clock. So
which is fair.
Easy trip Cleveland to Washington. So then they're in Washington. I don't know. I guess with the game tomorrow they'll get to Atlanta probably around 1:30. It's not the longest flight from DC down to Atlanta. And so, but then they'll be home and get a relatively good night's sleep. And as much as I think Michael Malone will want them in the building on Monday, I imagine that they'll have Monday off, and then Tuesday might even just be not a lighter practice, but I don't know if he's going to kill him Tuesday as much as they'll ramp it up Wednesday, then taper back down Thursday for a Friday game. But the point is they're going to have time to rest and recover. But I don't think it's about the physical stuff other than fatigue for Joker. It's going to be about the mental stuff, the communication, and are they on the same page with their head coach, with their coaching staff? Where does Jamal Murray fit in all this? Where do they go from here? Can they get it on track? But I think that's how you're going to have to focus your energy. And maybe you go, in this case, it would be stealing a win from Atlanta because you don't expect that you'll have AG. Maybe you do. You're almost certainly not going to have Jamal. So you're going to be undermanned against a playoff team in the East. When I checked the other day, they were the 6th seed. I guess I haven't seen what it's adjusted to, but they were at least firmly a playoff team. They're up to the 5th seed now. They're 13-11. So they're not running away to one of those top spots like Cleveland is or Boston is, but they're still one of the better teams in the East. They're right now the 5th best team in the East. So it would be stealing a win. Maybe that's how you bounce back, but I have a hard time thinking you're going to get as solid. I don't say that Joker won't be solid, just as impactful a performance from Joker, certainly on the score sheet. I mean, it's his highest point total ever. So you're going to need more people to score, but you got to make shots. You can't make 5 threes in a game. Even if Joker makes 3 of 5, you can't make 5 threes in a game and win in today's NBA. So you got to make threes tomorrow and play better defense.
Full transparency, a lot of the comments we're seeing in here are about head coach Malone. And I have never been big on placing a ton of blame on Coach Malone for, bad games by the Nuggets or whatever. But what I will tell you is at one point in this game, I look up and there's a good 3 minutes left. And based on the rotation, you would have thought it was a 50-point blowout and there was 30 seconds left. The rotation did not make sense. We were not playing the right guys. We were acting like the game was already over. And it's those moments that I do find very frustrating to watch unfold. Quick question for you, BK, before we get out of here. Although shout out to you guys for being here. We got a lot of people on this one. I think we all just needed a little venting sesh here. How long do you think Coach Malone lasts if it keeps going this way? Do you think his time in Denver is going to end soon?
I don't. They gave him a new deal. He won a championship 2 years ago, and he and Joker have been together since day one. So, and he does have a good relationship with Jamal, and maybe that's to the detriment of the team, I guess. And so how he navigates that and trying to get the best out of Jamal when Jamal's back on the court and available, that's going to really be where Michael Malone's going to earn his money. But the team it's kind of a chicken and an egg thing, right? The coach can say, we need y'all to communicate more. It's not like there's only so many plays you run on defense. It really is about connectivity. And he keeps bringing up playing for each other. And I guess to some degree that's about the coaches, but you can only do so much. The players then have to execute whatever the approach is. If you're going to play like the Rockets used to play or the Suns in the Mike D'Antoni days, you're just going to run and gun and not worry about defense. That's fine. That's not how Michael Malone's wired. It's let's play defense and then let's go score. Not let them score, then we'll match it, because we do know that they can score a lot of points. They scored a bunch tonight, even despite missing all those threes. And so this is going to be where Michael Malone really earns his money, but he's one of the highest paid coaches in the league. He and Joker are on the same page. He is a good defensive coach, but he's got to figure out a way to get through to all of his team and then figure out a way to make it work with Jamal and get the most out of Jamal because they're paying him to be the second best player, and he's been far from it.
Yeah, I think this comment pretty much nails it. I don't think firing Coach Malone is going to change a whole lot, to be honest with you. I think
is David
bigger
Adelman
than
going to
that.
step in and do better? Is
Right,
Popeye
he's not.
Jones?
He's not.
It's
Firing
silly.
Coach Malone is not going to fix the issue at hand here. I don't think having, the next coach on the Nuggets coaching roster step up after Malone is going to do anything differently than what we've got right now, because what we're seeing is no defense being played, which is what? Effort and communication. A lackadaisical checked out Jamal Murray, which is what? Uncontrollable. We can't control whether Jamal Murray wants to be here or not. That is completely out of our control. But I'm going to tell you this right now. I will crash the F out if I see a video of him surface online tonight at a UFC fight. It's a promise. I will crash out. You guys think you've seen me go ballistic thus far? Please say a prayer to the gods above that Jamal Murray is not at the UFC fight and we don't find out about it, because BK is the one that's going to have to deal with me for the next week, and I don't think he wants to deal with that. So please, for the love of God, let's not let that happen. But yeah, I this is a tough L. In so many. Oh my! Did you guys just see my microphone try to kill me? In so many different ways, this is a tough L, and I think this is one of those that you got to just lick your wounds and move on. And tough. Again, a 56-point performance by Jokic should be against the Wizards should be accompanied by a win, and it wasn't. Whether or not Aaron Gordon and Jamal Murray are out there with this team, it should not matter. This should have been a dub. It should have been an easy dub. And I actually tweeted before the game started, this should be an easy win, which means it probably won't be, because that seems to be the trend with this Denver Nuggets team this season. When you think that they've got it, when you think that they're finding their rhythm and their groove, they're not. And that's where we're at with this team. Any final thoughts for you? By the way, this is presented by Trusted American Mortgage. Head to trustedamerican.com if you're listening, or go ahead and check out that QR code in the corner of the screen to see how they can save you money, especially during this holiday season. I have done zero Christmas shopping. I have a lot of shopping to do, and they are actually through the month of February. You could have zero mortgage payments. They are trying to help you out and see if there's ways that they can help you save some money this season. So head to trustedamerican.com and or scan this QR code to see what they can do for you. Anything that you want to end with here, BK? We've got 1,700 people in here. Everybody, thank you for being here, by the way. Just want
to we'll be back tomorrow.
Yes, we will.
Hopefully after a win. It's going to be a fascinating, I think, 24 hours, or I guess in this case, 20 hours to see what happens between now and when they tip off in Atlanta. I don't think that Josh Kroenke and Stan Kroenke are firing Calvin Booth. I don't think that the three of them are firing Michael Malone. I don't think they're making a move with Jamal Murray. I don't think you can trade for De'Aaron Fox right now. Unless you're going to give up a whole lot more with Jamal. You're going to send Jamal and Peyton Watson and some draft picks and Zeke Naji. Then maybe you have a shot at De'Aaron Fox. But there's no way. Why does Sacramento want Jamal Murray right now? They're watching the Nuggets games and understand that they're not going to be getting peak Jamal Murray based on what we're seeing. So I understand people calling for the coach, but identifying a problem, if you think he's the problem, and I'm not going to argue against that, that's one thing, but find me the solution. And they don't have a solution right now.
Firing him's not a solution. Yeah.
A lot of people think David Adelman will be a good head coach, and maybe he will be. He had one chance to coach with no Zion and no Joker, and he lost that game. So, and that was earlier, obviously, and I guess AG wasn't healthy either. So you had no Joker and no AG, if my math is right in my head. But nonetheless, they're not firing Michael Malone. They're just not. It's not happening. And I don't know if he's necessarily the problem, but he is kind of running his head into a wall because the team isn't responding to his messaging right now.
Oh, and you and I both know, because you get to be in there in those post-game pressers every single post-game. You know that Coach Malone's pissed right now. I can already tell. I already know exactly what he's going to say. This is unacceptable. We're not contenders if we play like this. He's going to have a million things to say about this one. He is in no way satisfied with how this season is going so far. And unlike players like Jamal, who are like, oh, it's a long season, this is part of the game, Coach Malone knows that every single one of these games matters. They do. They are important down the stretch. We've got, do you have a score update for us on the Celtics Grizzlies? Because I'm pretty sure the Grizzlies were up when we started this show.
Yeah, I got it right here. Sorry, I had it. 104-103 with 8.5 minutes left. So still plenty of basketball left in Beantown. Grizz obviously playing a lot better.
Which, again, just the reason I bring that up is it just shows how competitive the Western Conference is. We knew this. Jamal Murray back and healthy with this team. The Golden State Warriors started their season off very hot. They were the best team in the Western Conference a few weeks into the season. OKC, we know, is incredible. The Timberwolves had a little bit of a struggle there. I have a feeling that they will find their groove and they'll bounce back in some capacity. I mean, there are a lot of teams in the Western Conference that are going to make it a very tough year for this Denver Nuggets team if they keep dropping games like the Washington Wizards. I mean, for the love of God, so help me. Losing to the Celtics, I can stomach that. Losing to the Cavs, I can stomach that. Losing to the Knicks in the fashion in which they did, I can stomach that. But losing to the Wizards after Jokic gave you 56, it's unacceptable. It is absolutely unacceptable. So, you know, we will be back live again tomorrow night following the, Hawks game. That is happening, I think, at like 4 p.m. Denver time. So you can
4 Mountain time. So look for us right around 6:30.
Yep, 6:30. We'll be here. We'll go live. We'll hang out with you guys. We appreciate you tons and tons and tons for being here. We have almost 2,000 of you tonight. I think everybody just needed a little therapy session, and we're happy to provide that for you. So, BK, we're going to get out of here. I know you've got to go. Your son made dinner for everybody, so I know you got to go enjoy some dinner. I'm going to go turn on a Christmas movie and try to pretend like that game never happened. But you guys, please give Guerilla Sports a follow on all things social, and make sure you're tuning in tomorrow. We'll have another post-game live reaction for you, and then regularly scheduled off-court episodes. This episode is presented by Trusted American Mortgage. Head to trustedamerican.com or scan the QR code right above BK's head to see how they can help you save some money during this expensive time of the year, the holiday season. Thank you so much for being here. So much love to you. We will be back tomorrow night and hopefully with a little bit of a better result from this Nuggets team. Thank you tons, and we will see you soon. Bye.